Welcome to Discover the Terror. I'm Maximilian Schmidt, and this is Herbert, your ghoulish host for this evening. Tonight's guest is a fearless writer who confronts the status quo, power, and control through intricate works that describe the nuance of humanity and society as a whole. Zoe Reid, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, I'm always excited when I meet a new writer because as a writer, you can learn so much from any writer you meet.
Yeah.
And the words really describe who that individual is.
Sure.
And I always fall into this weird haze when I write, like just losing myself in the work. Mm-hmm. So I want to know what that feeling is for you when you're just in that writer's high. Like, describe it for me.
Oh man, it's fleeting though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Isn't it nice when you get there and you're like, oh great, like I'm in the characters. Mm-hmm. And then there's every moment in between where you're like, what do they do in this particular moment? I don't know. I listen to a lot of music preparing to write. Oh,
preparing. So like right leading up to maybe the moment you're saying, I'm writing, nothing distracts me, just getting into the music?
Yeah, I mean, I try to listen to what I think the characters would like.
Oh, okay.
So for this, I listen to an indie artist that I really love. Her name's Odie Lay. Like folk kind of music. And she's like very queer-coded, although hilariously straight. Okay. I remember finding that out about her, and I was like, no, but apparently
just with her her lyrics or how she presents herself in her music?
Both.
Okay.
It feels very gay, and like I mean that in the best,
yeah, of course,
in the best way. But I listen to a lot of music when I write, and I daydream a lot. Mm-hmm. That was a kid thing for me, which like they should have caught me as a kid that there was something kind of weird, because I would pace around the pool and just mumble to myself in dialogue, and like that was my first writing. Wow. So when I'm like actually in it, it feels like very daydream, like I'm just kind of in the room. And then there's the plotting, which took me years to figure out. That was stuff. That was work. Because the first things I ever wrote were spectacularly bad, which is kind of a rite of passage, I think.
You have to. If you don't write bad stuff first, you're not really a writer.
Yeah,
like you really got to get through it.
Or
you're savant. You're like, fuck it.
Okay. But yeah, I wrote a lot of very play-like things.
Play-like things.
Where my notes would be like, I remember being in a screenwriting class, and she was like, "So there's a lot of dialogue in this," and I'd be like, "Yeah," and she was like, "But what's happening? Like the dialogue feels very natural, but like who cares? Like a little bit."
Yeah.
So that took me a second. But when I'm in it, I like to write at the New York Public Library, which if you're in New York, go to the main branch, the Bryant Park branch of the New York Public Library, because it's this very like iconic, like molded ceilings, like sort of painted clouds on the ceilings, these huge arched windows. Like it's very Hogwarts.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
And it's very like you're there to study. Like you walk in, they quiz you. They're like, "Are you here to study?" And they whisper it. They're like, "Are you here doing this?" And
yes.
Like, you have to walk in all self-important, and then it's silent in there, except for the world's loudest chairs. But
is it carpeted or?
No, it's these beautiful wood floors and these enormous chairs that every time you pull them out, you just hear. And
so you got to pick that up.
You got to kind of like gently pick it up. But there's like library, I call them the library police there. They like walk around and they're like making sure nobody's talking and nobody has like a water bottle.
Do they have a uniform or anything? Or?
They do. They wear their little New York Public Library like badge and like whatever. It's very sweet. But finding that room genuinely helped me, because I used to write a lot at home, and I have 3 cats.
Oh, they don't let you write.
Well, I love them very much, but they're very needy.
Sometimes I have a cat that stays in my apartment from a friend, and every time I write, it always jumps up on my keyboard, and it just loves the keyboard, and I'm just like, you can write your own script, but on a different time.
Yeah, they have to be right where you are. But no, it's a good feeling. I'm sure you have the same.
Yeah. You know, it's great. I always kind of equate it to fishing, you know, even though I've never fished in my life. But the aspect of like you throw your line in the water, you wait, you kind of like marinate in it, and then all of a sudden you catch something, an idea or just dialogue or, you know, whatever, and then you go. And you're like, okay, I'm reeling it in. I got to get this. But the New York Library is fascinating to me. That's where you found your zen. Is the
So
energy? Is it the people? You described the architecture. I'm like trying to pinpoint the things that inspire you to like that works for you
Yeah,
to get you to write.
it's the whole thing. There's a ritual to it. I get on the train. I
Okay.
listen to the music that I'm like. I have little playlists. Like the playlist for this one's just called Shell and Cassie, and I listen to my little
Okay.
playlist on the train, or the Science Versus podcast, which is great, and unrelated. But you have to walk up these gorgeous kind of like marble like stairs to the library. There are always like 5 people taking like engagement photos. Like it's
Wow.
like very like there are tourists everywhere. So there's this kind of like reverence for this place in Fort New York, and it's this very. You look at the building, you don't think it's a library because it's so kind of like beautiful and it's such a monument. But I walk up the stairs, and then you enter this completely quiet, like Hogwarts-like room. And there's something so beautiful about a free space where everybody is just doing their own work. Like it's sometimes you see college students who are working on an essay. Sometimes it's somebody who's studying for the bar exam. Sometimes it's somebody who just wants like a nice, quiet place to sit down where they're doing like their Sudoku or like whatever.
Gotta have to do Sudoku, right?
It's so sweet. Like there's something so like egalitarian and beautiful about that. And it's I think I pretend I dress up for it. Like I put on my little like writer outfit for the day, and I like listen to my music on the way, and then I perform for myself. Like it's this little performance of like I'm a writer and I'm in the New York and there's something about the like performance of that helps me to like lock in.
Do you ever go to the actual library section and get books and kind of see like, maybe I see what inspires me from this random book I choose or whatever that relates to the script?
I mean, I should. And I should read more horror. I read a lot of novels, I read a lot of fantasy, and that I do think helps a lot with just like I think the more I read, the better I write. It's an annoying thing to say.
No, I feel that too. Well, I notice when I'm like really good on my reading, like every day, back to back, and I'm writing at that piece of time, then I notice it's so much easier than when you take your break, then you're kind of like a little rusty.
Yeah, there's something about R.F. Kuang is one of my favorite authors. She's I don't know. Have you read anything?
I haven't read it. I've heard of the works, and I saw her when I was looking you up.
She's a lab-grown diamond. Like
Ooh,
she's
that's a good way of describing someone.
She's she's not a real person. Like I went to like a book thing of hers, and she was like, well, one of the things that I do is she's like I'm like entirely offline. I'm like I do freelance in social media. Like that's how I make it. I was like, well, yeah, it would be nice. But she, you know, she wrote her first novel at like 18 years old.
Wow.
And it would make me angry at her if she weren't like, I'm so proud of her. She's so spectacular. And it does help me to like, I have my favorite works, and I think even though I'm not doing the thing where I'm checking out books and like referencing stuff usually, it is nice to be surrounded by other people's really hard and really beautiful work.
Yeah.
And all of this research. But I do want to be reading more horror novels. I haven't read very many horror novels, and I think that would help me a lot because I do watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah. What are your favorites?
Barbarian's my favorite.
Barbarian
of all time.
is great.
It's so good.
Did you see Weapons?
Yes, and it's really fun.
I know. Well, it's so great about Zach Cregger is how he plays with structure.
Yeah.
Which again, you don't really see too many movies playing with structure nowadays.
That's true.
And he kind of takes this aspect of, oh, I'm specifically gonna do it like this because I've seen other references use this structure. At least for Barbarian, he was just going with the moment. He's like, oh, I think this scene should take me back to the 70s and get the context in the middle of the movie to everything, like kind of like a chandelier of the whole film. Yeah. And it's just like, whoa, I love it. It's like you breaking the rules without just any resemblance of following them.
Yeah, and I read the script, I downloaded the script for that.
Okay.
Because I was like, I have to see this script. And I don't know, like, do you use Script Slug at all to download?
I do, but I have not downloaded Barbarian. I kind of want to now.
It's shot for shot. And, like, a lot of the stuff, like, I read the script for The Conjuring, which is very clearly, like, kind of a first draft. Yeah. It's still really good, but you don't recognize it from, like, the first scene of the movie isn't the same. Like, I downloaded the script and had to check. I was like, this is this is right. Right? Like, I got the right script. And it was right, but I remember reading Barbarian. It's the cleanest fucking script I've ever read.
How many pages? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think it's like it's like 110, 105. Like it's like tight.
Tight, yeah.
And it is so spectacularly written. And I do love, he does jump back in time, but I do love how linear the story feels. Like it does feel very A to B to C.
Yeah.
And there is something that's so like relentlessly fast about that I was like, I would love. And like, I am not Zach Kreger, but like maybe one, like he's such a brilliant horror writer. So funny because he was a comedy kid.
I know. I mean, it's like the classic like Peel going from comedy to Get Out, right? And then Zach Kreger's kind of the next iteration of that, which is, it's awesome. I mean, comedy and horror just go hand in hand. They're just different sides of the same coin, you know?
Yeah.
Frightened, laughing.
Yeah.
It's back and back. That's why I love when people mix those two genres.
Yeah, it is hard. I haven't seen many horror comedies that I love, though. I was nervous to write one.
Yeah, because...
is this going to be terrible?
Well,
can I do this?
As you bring that up, I have read your script, Bad Connection, which could you give the audience a little log line of what it is so they can understand it? And I always like to say, or have the artist give the log line because I don't want to butcher it, right? Because you come from such a genuine place with it, you know?
Yeah, it's about two queer comedians, Michelle and Cassie, who are kind of coming up in the comedy world, and they get cast in this ghost hunting show. And they find out the hard way when they get to the house. They think they're in a real haunting, and they find out that they've actually been cast as the victims in a snuff film, and the killer is already in the house with them. So they kind of have to like outwit him and fight him to get out of the house. And it was based on, I'm a comedy kid in the sense that like my boyfriend is an improv comedian. And
so you got the world down just from experiencing it through him and going to his shows and whatnot?
Well, that's my life in New York.
Okay.
And that's my community in New York, is like just the loveliest people who just hang out in these terrible black box theaters and bars and do improv comedy that sometimes only 5 people see. And like there's something so wholesome and spectacular about that. But I wanted to take, I also love, do you know, it's now called Watcher, but it used to be the Ghost Files with BuzzFeed, like BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Okay, yes, I know BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Yes.
They updated it to Watcher. Is that the new iteration of it?
They did the leaving BuzzFeed thing to make their
own
money. So
yeah,
they
that's
have their
right.
own network
okay, cool. I didn't know that because I remember BuzzFeed Unsolved and all that. But okay, great.
Yeah, and I love them, and I love ghost hunts, and I love ghost hunting shows. But I'm an asshole, and I don't believe in ghosts.
Why? Why? I want to know.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
That it's dead people. Do you know what I mean? Like, weird things happen that are unexplained. And it makes sense to me that we tell the story of it being dead people. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Like, it's very man-made of an idea that we think these paranormal occurrences are dead into like humans.
Yes, that's what I think.
Okay.
Every one of my friends hates me
for
for this.
Are you religious at all?
No.
No, so you consider yourself an atheist?
Yeah, atheist agnostic.
Okay.
I'm not confident I know anything. That's what I like about science.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like, why do we know the secrets of the world? Like, I know for a fact this is a ghost and a dead person, even though there are individuals that truly do believe it.
Yeah.
I'm agnostic, I would say, about that, because I've never had a paranormal occurrence.
I mean, yeah.
But
I kind of have. That's why people get angry at me.
Okay, what was it?
It was I think it was a dream, but I was in this I was staying in this hotel, this old, you know, the hotel that in The Office, they like the Niagara like wedding with like Jim and Pam.
Yes.
I think it was shot like that place was somewhere involved, and it's apparently very haunted.
Oh.
And anytime I go to a place that's like apparently very haunted, I have to look up. I'm like, well, what's the story? Like, why do people think it's haunted? Who are the ghosts apparently here? And in our room that we were staying in, there was allegedly like a murder-suicide of like a husband and wife. Oof. And I was like, oh, that's rough. Like, I see why people think there are ghosts here.
Yeah.
And it did have the ambiance. Like, it was, the carpeted floors and like really old, and there was like, kind of creepy mirrors and whatever. I loved it. I was so happy. It was like, I walked in.
This is my playpen
so
right here.
Like, look at how sweet this is. But I woke up at like 4 a.m. to what sounded like a woman crying.
Were you by yourself or with your boyfriend?
I was with my boyfriend.
Okay.
It was dead asleep.
Gotcha.
And I thought I heard a woman crying, and I woke up, and my first thought, I woke John up, and I said, "Were you crying?"
He's like, "No."
He's like, "No." I went back to sleep, and I did. I looked around the room, saw nothing, and went back to sleep. But my assumption about it was like, I'd been up until 2 a.m. reading ghost stories. And I was like,
Yeah, that'll do it.
You had a dream.
That'll do it.
But all of my friends were like, that was a ghost. And apparently Vivian, John's mom, was staying upstairs, like in a different room. She heard like a knock on the door, like early in the morning, and no one was there. She like went to answer it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, creepy stuff. Creepy stuff do be happening. And like,
but you don't think that they're dead humans, like you think it's some sort of energy that's doing that, or
I don't know. I think we assign value in stories to weird stuff that happens, and I don't know why that happened. I don't think it's also I don't want to believe that if you die you can get stuck in a terrible loop.
Yeah, that does suck.
You know what I mean? Like,
that
would
does
suck. Like, I don't. It's also there's a certain aspect of it where I'm like, I don't really want to believe that.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be a petty ghost if I was stuck here. I'll be like, man, I'm gonna haunt everyone because I'm just pissed I'm in this situation.
Yeah, and I'd want to prove to everyone that I was real.
Yeah,
that's
right.
The other thing is, I'm like, if you're aware that you're a ghost, aren't you there like?
Hello, like a little cat just knocking shit down.
You know what I mean? Like if that's your only power. I was thinking the rules are a little. The rules are constantly moving around.
I mean, that's the thing, though. Who really knows the rules? There's not really rules. Obviously, we're trying to get some structure of this abstract idea and concept.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think there's specifically rules like you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It really unnerves me sometimes when stuff like that does happen, or I hear about it and that person's just so confident in their conviction. And I'm just like, okay, you experienced it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a ghost or something else.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's just slap the paranormal sticker on it and call it a day.
Yeah, it's unexplained. I don't know. That's why I think Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved and Watcher are so fun together, because you've got Shane, who is the relentless skeptic, and you have Ryan, who really believes. And I wanted to take that dynamic and do something with it.
Michelle and Cassie.
Yeah, and in a way that also honored my relentless skepticism in terms of like, how can I make a horror where we think it's ghosts and it's not ghosts, and it's like, it is something scary, but it's the scary thing that I know exists in the world.
Well, that's why I loved the twist that you just described, because again, I'm more scared of humans than ghouls and goblins, because like in your script, it is something just so disturbingly human of what happens, of exploitation, that it is happening right now, and I don't want to be on the other end of that, and so do you. It's just like,
no, ideally never.
Yeah. Oh God, especially what happens in that script. Yeah, you're like,
it's a little rough. They like, not to spoil the ending. I did spoil a twist, but they do make it out.
They do make it out. Okay.
It is a true comedy.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Yeah. After the fact, but
I'd say the log line is a spoiler. I didn't know how to avoid that. I remember writing the log line and being like, well, it's I gotta say what.
But I think it doesn't take away from the twist, because I remember you told me that, and it just makes it more tragic, up to the point of the ending, which is hopeful.
Yeah.
You were inspired by, obviously, Watchers, but was there anything else regarding just the idea of reality TV show?
Sure.
That industry that hit you? Because again, the snuff film aspect is the definition of exploitation on media or through media.
Yeah, I was interested in a few different things. I love a serial killer documentary. And if you haven't seen Don't Fuck with Cats.
I have.
Oh
my
God.
gosh.
It's
What's
so
his name?
good.
Luca
Magnotta.
Luca Magnotta.
Oh man.
What a crazy freak.
What a terrible, 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 terrible person.
Yeah, for real.
And that documentary is so nuanced and so beautifully done.
Yes.
And I was like, that's a really good reference for a villain. I was going like, Luca Magnotta meets like kind of some Army Hammer like kind of stuff, where I was like, that's so interesting to take somebody who's in the industry, or like this kind of very self-important like Christian Bale and what's his name?
Patrick Bateman?
Patrick Bateman.
Yeah. Wait, is it Patrick Bateman? I don't want to. Yes, it is. Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I don't, because I was thinking of Jason Bateman, and I'm like, I don't want to say Jason Bateman for that guy, because Jason Bateman's a treasure.
Yeah, who's definitely watching this podcast.
Yes,
so
for sure.
Hey.
Sorry, Jason.
So sorry. Yeah, no, I was like, that would be really, I wanted to do something with that. And also, as far as the reality TV aspect of it, what I thought was so fun is like found footage a little bit. Because I was like, I'm not a producer or a director or somebody who understands what's interesting with the camera, really. The photos on my phone are terrible.
It's the thought that counts, though.
Yeah, no, I'm trying. It's all my cats, largely.
Beautiful.
But it's, like the idea of the way you could shoot it could be so fun. Because the way Shane and Ryan do it, they have a camera on their face, and they have a camera that faces. Yeah. They have a crew, but like in this film, the characters they're deliberately alone in the house. But there's something about that can be so fun. It's like one of the reasons The Conjuring is my favorite ghost movie, is just the way it's shot. Like you're constantly looking for something in a corner that you don't know if you're going to see. Like it's
James Wan and how he frames just any of his horror films, specifically The Conjuring film, is just, it's tense.
It's so good.
There's so much thrill behind it, you know.
I've seen that movie like 5 times, and I'm like, it's just such a good. It's a good.
Have you seen the movie 1408?
No.
Ooh, okay. So
that'll go on my list.
Go on the list. It's this paranormal kind of. I'm just gonna say paranormal because I don't want to spoil that.
Okay.
The essence of it, but it's kind of a forgotten film. It came out like 2008 or something. I remember as a kid watching it in theaters, being really creeped out by it. And it was just PG-13, right?
Okay.
And then I finally watched it as an adult, and I was like, this is such an underrated horror movie, specifically paranormal. And it's I think it's based off Stephen King. I might be right or wrong.
Okay.
But just check it out.
Yeah,
please do.
I will. I love a good paranormal horror. I really do. I honestly, it was interesting that this ended up kind of going into the slasher genre. Yeah, because that's not usually the genre that I gravitate towards.
Okay.
I like them, but my favorite horror movies are like Barbarian, Exorcist, Nope. I love Nope. I love a creature feature. Yes. Because I love animals.
I mean, I'm still disturbed by that one shot in Nope of them kind of in the digestive tract of the.
Yes.
That was like, oh my.
It's so good.
It was disturbing.
It's so good.
But that's fascinating that you say that you don't really care for the slasher genre, but you kind of went into that. Like, what made you switch up the paranormal to, for lack of a better word, slasher?
I think it made it. I really care about. I think this is a little bit the way I daydream about stuff, and the way rules matter to me a lot.
Okay.
And like rules of the world matter to me a lot, and it made sense to me that this guy is really determined to get what he wants from them. Yes. But this is in my mind, it's not exactly explained in the script, but in my mind, this is his first attempt at this, and he's kind of shitty at it because he doesn't anticipate everything that could go wrong, and the amount of fighting back and like
they fought back.
So I also liked the power reversal. I wanted to see 2 young queer women in a horror film who don't get completely naked. They're a little naked, which I don't know. It felt like the stakes, the rules of it made sense to me.
But it's not.
Not that I don't
structured.
like nudity. Nudity
Yeah.
is great, but it's just I wanted to reverse the exploitation.
Yeah, and it's not really structured in a very male gazy, obviously because you're female, vibe, because that's usually what we think of nudity in film is
Yeah.
that kind of exploitative camera angle.
Yeah, and also I think it's one of the reasons I loved Barbarian so much is it meant a lot to me as a woman to watch that movie and to see, because I think it's definitely changing now, but I haven't seen very much, especially in the horror genre, where it feels like newer horror movies, yes, but where it feels like the woman is acting in a way that would make sense to me as a woman. If, hopefully if I were in that situation, I wouldn't freeze. And you know what I mean? Like, hopefully. But, I liked that in Barbarian. Should I not spoil anything in Barbarian?
No, it's been out for a while. If you haven't seen it at this point, then
Well, skip
this part. Yeah.
Skip this part. But it's great that she makes it out because she understands the monster.
Yes.
And she empathizes with this other kind of female creature.
Because the monster is a very tragic
Yes.
character.
Yes, which I loved. I love feeling for a
Yeah,
monster.
me too. Because the monsters, it's so easy just to make it the other and then not give it any nuance. But
Yeah.
she was a mother. Like
Yeah.
she had the maternal instinct. I remember, was it near the end or something when they had that exchange of just the
Baba
glance?
back.
Yeah.
I did not expect to cry at a horror movie.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, no.
I know.
I was like, obviously you don't want her to go back, but I was like, I get it. Like, you
Yeah.
so care for
Yeah.
this creature that's like been tortured. So I don't know. I really loved that. That's my favorite horror movie, I think.
Well, it's funny, not funny, but I like that you mentioned how women are written in horror films.
Yeah.
And, it's no secret that horror has been male dominated behind the camera and the script for so long. But recently, like with the last 3 years or so, we've had a lot of, at least the media and fandom has been really upholding, like, Substance went to the fucking Oscars, and that was all female-made film, you know? And, like, one of my favorite directors, Julia Ducournau, who did Titan and Raw, like, it's just so prominent now in the genre.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, when I was doing research on you, feminist horror films.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you, a feminist horror film?
I think for me it means film that focuses. For me, it's about how I think women would really behave. I think less like kind of heavy-handed girl power, like which is fine. I don't think that doesn't sort of have its place. But I think like what I wanted to see growing up was women who reminded me of the women in my life. And I think all that means to me is behavior that feels real. And also I think that like outside of just like a feminist perspective, like that's what I think is most interesting in stories. It's one of the reasons that The Exorcist holds up so well.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
such a fun horror film because all the behavior feels so real.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing a mother fucking lose her shit as she doesn't know how to help her child.
Yeah, and even the kid, like it's so irreverent. Like
Yeah.
I love how irreverent it is, and how like I don't know. That movie really stuck with me as well, and I remember watching that movie for the first time because I did like later in life. Like I think I was in my 20s when I watched that, and I was like, oh man, like this is not what I expected it to be, like very vintage horror where it's like a little like stilted and, and like it's really not.
I know, it's very ahead of its time, and it's fascinating because I saw it as a kid and all I remember are the gory graphic parts, right? But then when I watched it as an adult, it just became a masterpiece, like understanding the emotional terror that these people are going through, you know, that they just haven't seen anything like this, that religion can save or cannot save, you know? Like that was the big question, is do we have faith?
Yeah, which I do love, I love the sort of like irreverence of that and the exploration of that, and how it did feel, I don't know, it also felt, I don't know, I'm not religious so this is not my place to say, but it felt relatively respectful in a way. Like, I don't know.
It felt
maybe
researched,
not.
you know.
It definitely felt, it felt grounded in what the belief of that kind of thing is,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Well, speaking of research, do you do a lot of research in your scripts, or do you kind of just go based off of your gut feeling and your experience?
I do, in the sense that so much of, for this script, one of the reasons that I decided to write it was because it felt like the research had already been done. I have seen so much ghost hunting and read so many ghost stories and heard all of my friends' ghost stories and seen so much like ghost evidence and seen, like, I have done so much of that, and I've seen so many serial killer documentary.
Yeah.
Like, I have that is, you know, for better or worse, often a, like, I am falling asleep to.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, like,
I know people that fall asleep
yeah.
to like creepy pastas, you know.
Yeah.
There's just like some horrific things happening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my boyfriend will sometimes wake up and be like, and he hears like, and she was stabbed 17 times.
What the fuck?
And he's like, why?
Why?
I'm just sleeping, resting.
Is he the opposite of you, like regarding horror and all that?
No, I mean, he likes it. We watch a horror movie every night in October. Where
Beautiful.
We try to.
I love it.
It's like a little, like, you know, we have the time to watch movies all the time, and we do play a lot of video games.
Ooh.
Phasmophobia is one of them, which is so fun.
Phasmophobia.
That got picked up for a movie. I forget
Really?
what production company bought the rights to that, but this is gonna get made into a movie. Hopefully a good one. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Crossing the
like,
fingers.
we'll see. Yeah.
Are you a big gamer?
Yeah.
Okay, so horror games is your bread and butter?
Well, not exclusively. I play a lot of really nerdy games. I played Baldur's Gate. I think I beat it like 3 or 4 times. Like,
Nice.
I really got into that game, which reveals maybe a little too much about how way too much time I spend playing it. So, you know. But yeah, I played through all of the Dark Anthology series, if you know that.
Okay, yeah, I've heard
Started
of
with
it. Haven't
Until
played
Dawn.
it, but
Until Dawn is like part of that was the
Okay.
like impetus for that whole
got you.
series, which is really, really cool. Phasmophobia, which is such a fun co-op game. You go in, you're ghost detectives, and you have the EMF reader and
What
you have
about-
the parabolic mic.
It makes me think of Alan Wake. Do you know that game?
No, I don't know.
I've never played. Like, see, I've played only a certain. Like, I'm a big Silent Hill fan, big Resident Evil fan.
Yeah.
But Alan Wake just always intrigues me. It's like this guy in this Lynchian town, and all this
very
weird surreal shit happens with light and darkness, and these.
Very cool.
I recommend it based off of what I've seen. It seems like that's up your alley.
Oh yeah, no, I love a horror game. Until Dawn is brilliant. I think it's really fun. It's less game, and it's more story.
It's more story, yeah.
But it's really, really well done. And as far, I really do. There's something that's so fun about that immersive genre where you get to actually play.
Oh,
with it.
100%.
It's so fun.
Well, back to the reality show aspect.
Yeah.
I've noticed recently in the current zeitgeist, Love Island was just everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I even watched it, and
I still haven't seen. I don't know how I've managed to, but I want to see it. It's just not. It's just not happened.
It's just like last season was really dawned on me like Love Island is Americans playing with Barbie dolls.
Sure.
Because all like the emotional turmoil some of them went through based off the Americans rating them and you know just smearing them online and then finding out. It's just like we're playing with these Barbie dolls, and it's just so twisted to me. Maybe because I'm just a horror guy, I see always the twisted aspects of things. They're people, yeah, exactly. And I don't know, when I read your script, it made me think of that, especially the twist of it being a snuff film, and he's just the whole house is rigged with cameras, and we start with these two characters stumbling around thinking it was one thing, but then this guy is controlling the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Like, did you subconsciously get inspired by any other reality shows aside from the ghost hunting stuff regarding of how humans are depicted?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's not that I haven't avoided reality TV completely. Like, I watched all of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which I thought was fun. I kept getting advertised to me. And
dude, I saw it on all the billboards driving around.
I'm going to try.
I'm going to see what it is.
At a certain point, I was like, I have to understand what this is. But yeah, I mean, I think I am really interested. I did social media for, like, I still do. And also I think there are wonderful pros to that world, and also, the obvious sort of cons to that. And like, I used to have my own social media platform when I was trying to figure out how to promote the D&D podcast that I used to work for.
Oh.
Because I am such a nerd, and that's how
D&D all the way.
So I was hired onto a D&D podcast, and we did like a live D&D podcast. And it was really, really fun. But I remember what it felt like to get comments and to get it is really weird when you have like a viral moment, or you have like people looking at you and picking you apart online based on usually this really curated like kind of minute of your life. Or like for the D&D podcast, it was a little too long, but it was like 3 hours long, the podcast. But what I did was cut together our the reels, our clips, like our verticals, such an annoying word, but it, I guess verticals, yes, it is literally vertical. But it was weird when you would get like people comment on stuff that you're like, oh, like I didn't think that somebody would notice this about me. And it is, I kind of try to allude to it a little bit, where Cassie, who is not a person who typically presents herself very much, like, when you're on stage doing stand-up, there's much less pressure to sort of like beautify and like whatever. But I was like a full face of makeup kid since I was like 14. So I was very much more the Michelle relationship. But there is a moment where she like kind of fixes her makeup before going in. There's this constant awareness of like being watched, even outside of just the ghost and the killer who's in the house. Like there is this sense of there's an audience. There's always an audience, which is kind of creepy.
It is creepy. It's people you don't consensually know are watching you. And it was interesting how he wrote their dynamics as they went from performative to, their actual beings are coming out and they're talking to one another like they're not being watched, you know?
Yeah.
And how do you write dialogue? Because your dialogue's very natural. So do you hear like all the people around you? You're kind of an eavesdropper. You're like, ooh, that bit is great. I'm gonna subconsciously store that for now, and then it's gonna come out to some character, whoever's gonna say it.
I do that. I do eavesdrop on people. If you see me in New York, or if you know me in New York, I don't do this. This is not true.
Okay, not true, guys.
But I put in my headphones and don't listen to anything. And I listen to, since I'm in Bryant Park all the time, a lot of Finance Bros. That's definitely going somewhere in the next script. There's a very funny piece of dialogue I heard recently. Just these people talking about this guy who's apparently working in their office. He's like, yeah, he got called in. He's got to do anger management because we kept coming in. He'd stay late all night, and there would just be broken monitors. I was like, what the hell is
What is he doing?
I was like, that's great. I'm going to use that. But I also...
I'm going to use that.
100%. I was like, that's fantastic. But I always have had, for better or for worse, a real knack for remembering things verbatim that people say.
Ooh, good gift to have as a writer.
If you're writing dialogue.
If you're writing dialogue, yes, exactly.
That's good. But that's how I think. When I was daydreaming as a kid, I would think in dialogue. I would think in terms of scenes more than anything. And even sometimes when I'm like listening to people talk, watching a movie even, I can see the words kind of on the page, and the dialogue is that's what comes easiest for me. What's a lot harder for me is making sure that every single scene, especially in a feature, because you have such a limited time frame, is absolutely needs to be there, is the most interesting version of the scene. And I don't know which draft you read. The most recent draft of the script is much better than the first draft. Or at least this is what I have heard, which I sincerely hope is the case. And people aren't.
Is it the one whatever you sent Daniel?
I think I don't know which one. I don't know which one Daniel sent you. I hope it was the most recent one. But I still have some stuff that I need to add to the next pass. I'm always doing that.
Of course, right. You're always revising and thinking the next draft,
Yeah. Yeah, but that was the thing I struggled with the most. And I learned that my strategy has to be, I have to do the not fun stuff first. Which for me, the not fun stuff is the plotting of everything. Making sure that, like, this starts in a really interesting place, it escalates quickly enough, and then it's resolved in a way that's satisfying.
Okay, kind of like the bare bones of it you gotta hit first.
The hero's journey, kind of, not that all of it has to be Joseph Campbell, but like that kind of thing is really not easy for me. The dialogue does come easily. So once it takes me about a week or two of just relentlessly plotting through plot and then going back through it and being like, well, is this the most interesting version of this scene? And there are some scenes in this movie where I'm like, that's not the most interesting version, this has to get changed. Like, then other stuff where I'm like, Ryan has to have a better payoff if he's like, you know what I mean? If he's like, if he's driving, if he's on his way to the house, which I added in the next draft because I was like, that's...
Oh, okay. So that was the second edition.
Yeah, so I was like, if he's on his way, then he's got to interact with Luke, because he didn't, and that was one thing my boyfriend, who generously reads all of my drafts, bless him, but he was like, you got to have a better payoff for Ryan. I was like, you're so fucking right. Like, I absolutely do.
I love... Okay, spoiler for the ending. Sorry.
No.
But I love that his whole story, after the two girls get captured in the house and they try to contact him, is he's like, okay,
so you did get the right draft.
Yes, okay, great.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, I'm gonna come to rescue and save you, and then he gets stopped by the cop, and obviously that adds more time, and then the girls already figured it out, and they're already making up, and then boom, then he comes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you think he's gonna be the one to save the day or somehow have any sort of factor into their escape.
It's gonna help.
But no. It's just pathetic all the way. And I thought that made me laugh. I was like, that's where the comedy aspect of the script really landed for me.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in the next draft of it. My plan was, I was like, it would be really fun if he actually does get to the gas station, when they get to the gas station, and he's useless.
Yep.
And he gets injured by the guy, and he can't really help, and they still have to figure it out. I was like, that would be really kind of a fun, satisfying payoff, where I can still have the, like, fuck you at the end of what I'm getting, I can still do that. It's like, that would be fun. And then I also got the note that it needs a better cold open. I thought, it absolutely does need a better cold open. You need to see the horror immediately. Because I do have a little bit of a problem with intros. I don't know if you noticed.
Well, it's the idea of you want to just go from the first moment of the actual script and just really let the characters follow that journey, instead of, okay, now you need some sort of hook in the beginning that could be, a scene from the end of the movie that gets people in, or whatever the cold open's gonna be,
Yeah, I did have an idea for that, where I was like, if this killer is gearing up for his first kill, it was like, I think it would be so fun, because I kind of allude to the idea of squatters. And this house that they go to is condemned, so they have like a padlock on the door. They get all of this information, like whatever, but they have to get into the house through a padlock, and the windows are boarded up because of squatters. And I did that mostly because I was like, the house has to be dark. I have to have a reason for the house to be dark, and the windows to be boarded up so they can't get out. And I wanted it to feel like real in that way. But I was like, how fun would it be if a squatter broke in through one of the windows, and there's the big jump scare is like a completely mutilated, like, cat, like domesticated animal. You see something terrible, runs out of the house, and then we cut to our girls, which still needs to get cut back a little bit. There's a lot of stuff but that's
just massaging it. You're gonna massage the kinks out of it, then it's gonna flow really naturally.
Hopefully,
which already does flow naturally, but I get you always want to revise and make it more to the point.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that you are from Studio City.
I am, yeah.
So you went from California to New York. What made you want to do the move?
I got into NYU.
Oh, you went to NYU. Okay.
I wanted to go to acting school, and then I got to acting school, and I thought, I don't like acting school. One of the things that I didn't like about it was a conservatory program at NYU. Tisch is like a conservatory, and people say it's one of the most competitive conservatories. It's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's a money thing. People think it's good because it's expensive. But it's a good school. I'm not saying it's not good, but statistically one of the least competitive conservatories in the country. So if people are a little, I got into Tisch and I thought this is going to be great, but it was a studio program. So you would have 3 days of your week that were like 9 to 6, like acting, regular acting bullshit, where it was like we had a Tai Chi class and we had a voice
Tai Chi class.
Like, how is that related? I don't know, but there's always some stuff.
I guess like something with the body, right?
I guess. Sometimes we would do like Shakespeare monologues while doing Tai Chi, which
what an image is that?
A most pretentious thing I've ever done. But also, I know some really brilliant actors who have come out of that program, and like, I personally didn't love it, but I hated that I couldn't take more writing classes. I remember thinking that when I got to school, and I think that should have been a hint for me. I remember being like, this is a lot of hours for acting. Why can't I take more classes in writing? And I did end up taking so many creative writing classes that I ended up with a minor without, I kind of got to the end of my, at the end of my like NYU career, and I remember being like, oh, because I think my counselor was like, oh, you have a minor in creative writing? And I was like, no, I don't. She was like, you do, actually. And I was like, all right, like, I guess, I was like, cool. But yeah, I don't know. That was what brought me to New York.
Yeah.
And I just got, then you get addicted, I think. You get...
Well, you've experienced both cities that are considered trendsetters, right?
Yeah.
Like you, outside of America, those are the cities you hear about the most.
Sure, yeah.
So having that experience, what did you consume as an individual of humanity?
Oh man, New York is...
For both sides, you know.
LA is such an industry town.
Okay.
And I always forget, because I've been in New York for 12 years now, and I forget how, like, yeah, I'm like, now I'm, real New Yorker, I think. And I forget how much of an industry town it is. It really does feel very focused on that. So a lot of the conversations you have with people, and a lot of the relationships I have in LA are so focused on acting and writing. And one of the things I do love about New York, it's not that I don't love that aspect of LA, but people in New York are just doing New York stuff. There are lots of different kinds. It's more diverse in terms of interests, I think.
Okay.
I found. And people doing their own sort of thing, whereas this feels very focused on Hollywood. And New Yorkers are I love New Yorkers. People say New Yorkers are grumpy. It's just because you're meeting them on their commute.
Yeah, don't get in their way.
Don't make it that deep. Like, it's the people. I think tourists are like, well, they're grumpy and they walk they bump into me, and I'm like, well, it's because that's how they commute to work.
Yeah.
Is by walking. Like, they're 15 minutes late and you're in their way, and it's not like. But if you fell down in the middle of the sidewalk,
they're gonna help you.
They would help you.
Okay.
And I really believe in New Yorkers in that way.
That's great.
I really do. I think largely when you actually talk to somebody from New York, they'll tell you exactly what they think. And I do like that about New York. In LA, it feels a little less like that. People are more likely to be polite.
Okay.
But not kind.
Not
and
kind.
I think
Interesting.
New York, it's the opposite. People are not likely to be polite, but they will.
But they'll be kind.
Yeah.
I love like the two-faced reversal of both of those.
Not that obviously everyone's.
Yeah, it's more nuanced than that,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the general sentiment of it.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I bring those two cities up, that you've experienced them, I've noticed, at least in the script I've read of yours and just general research, you love certain themes. As I mentioned in the intro, power, control, identity, rebellion.
Yeah.
And since these themes really reoccur in your work, what gravitates you towards them? Has it been just experiencing these cities that are known, really known for that kind of stuff, that you've just been so influenced by it?
I don't know. I think I've always been interested in stories of, like, underdog stories and stories of rebellion. And I think I'm a pretty irreverent person. And when I was a kid, I was a very good student, but I have a really hard time. I was not good with authority. I wasn't a rebellious kid, but I was surly.
Yeah.
I thought I was a little full of myself, and then I thought I might have more of the right idea than other people. I think I've gotten better about that over time. But I think that we should question the systems of power and the people in power. And I think that's an important skill to maintain and an important perspective to have. And that has been how I've walked through my life, has been, not taking anything as gospel, I think. And I care about characters selfishly who have that same perspective and aren't necessarily interested in following orders in the way of following expectations and doing things because other people are doing them. Not that that's always a bad thing, but just, is that what you want? Is that what we want? Is that the right thing, or is that the best version of things, or is that just what we've been doing? So yeah, I think I've always just been interested in trying to figure out why things are the way that they are, and if that's the best version of things.
Why do you think? Well, what's your perspective on it? I have to ask because you set it up right there.
I was wondering if I should. I don't know.
Hey, this is just a work in progress, right? We're all getting older. We all have our perspective shifts. So this is the current Zoe's perspective.
I think it's very easy to be governed by fear.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the reasons that I'm interested in horror as a genre.
I was about to put that connection there. Yeah, totally.
And I think there's something, my favorite horror movies have a little bit taught me to be brave. And I think there's something about I don't know, I think it's, I have certainly made a lot of decisions in my life based on fear. I think nobody is exempt from that.
No, definitely not.
And I think that I would rather, I think it would probably be better for the world if we made fewer decisions that were afraid of change, that were afraid of standing out or pissing people off, or you're not going to be liked by everybody, and you're not going to have exclusively good experiences, and there's no way to mitigate all the variables in your life. So I think a lot of in the simplest way, I think a lot of things are the way they are because people have been afraid.
Yeah, fear governs a lot.
Yeah,
it is inherently in all of us.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you worked in social media. You still do.
Yes.
And that is kind of the pinnacle of our existence right now, is social media and online culture. And you always see these news headlines of Gen Z is the loneliest generation, and Gen Z's scared to be out there and be themselves because they're going to get roasted online and this and that. And I mean, it's kind of true.
Yeah.
It's kind of true. So what's your perspective of how things are devolving to this, where people are afraid to really be themselves, and it's kind of at the hands of our own doing?
Yeah, I think we're adapting to new technology,
Okay.
and to new culture right now. And my hopeful perspective on it is that, Socrates was really afraid of the written word. He thought that was going to ruin our minds.
Yep, that's true.
And he was wrong. Yeah. And I think that, it's changing. It's changing the way our brains work. People study this. It is changing. And also for younger people, which I do have a lot of empathy for this, it was not normal. It was not the norm for there to be that many eyeballs on you.
No.
That is weird.
And we went from sending mail through pigeons and all that, and it takes days and weeks and months, to now you get multiple texts and you're kind of expected in some sort of way to respond immediately.
Yeah.
And just the volume of that.
Yeah.
It's just a lot for humans.
We haven't adapted to it yet.
Yeah.
And I do think that, we're a very adaptable species. That's why we've survived for this long and thrived in the way that we have. But I do think there are upsides and downsides to it, in the way that there is with any new form of communication. And it is hurting our attention spans, and there is, but I think that any sort of absolutism about what should or should not exist, the tech is there,
Yeah.
In the same way with AI, like no amount of saying I don't want this to exist is going to make it not exist anymore. Like it is about, I think, adapting to the tech. And I think the best side of social media is that it is pretty egalitarian in that it's nice. Like you can do stuff like this where you can make your own thing and you can put stuff out there. And there's something that's really beautiful about seeing voices that you would not be able to see.
Of course.
And then there's the other side of it, which is misinformation and and like, you know, and the fact that we're showing, you know, sort of a minute long or 3 minute long version of somebody's life that can give you a really false impression of what life actually looks like and can lead to a lot of terrible comparisons, and the fact that information is moving so fast that we don't have a chance to make sure it's real, and how that can be polarizing, and the fact that the algorithm is curated to show you only things you want to see. Like these are all things that...
And I feel like a lot of people, including myself sometimes, forget that it's an algorithm. It's creating your own echo chamber.
Yeah.
Because you see one thing repeatedly coming up and you're like, oh, this is the masses. Everyone's seeing this. And obviously sometimes there is that case, but more times than not, it's just you.
Yeah.
And you think that's the status quo.
Yeah.
And just imagine a lot of people thinking that.
Yeah.
Having their own niche.
It's how you get these really insular, sometimes really scary communities popping up online. And like I do think there are ways to navigate that. Whether or not we're gonna figure that out, at least in my lifetime, or whether or not that is gonna devolve. I don't know. I hope that I do think that there is more of a movement now to trying to balance your life. Even on social media, where you'll see, like, I remember it used to kind of piss me off, but I would be scrolling, like, sometimes to look for references for work. I would get, like, a, you know, stop scrolling. Like, you know, and you're like, all right. Like, you're not
I think I scroll
wrong,
past that.
But I do think that now there is an emerging awareness about the fact that it's an echo chamber, and it is harder if you're a young person. I think
for sure. I can't even imagine being younger, because I feel like our generation, at least our half of the generation of Gen Z, like I still had a childhood of playing outside with my friends, running around the woods and Nerf guns and all that, right? And now kids are growing up barely doing that. They're just on their tablets, their phones, and it's fascinating kind of talking to the younger generation and mentioning your childhood and them going like, what?
Being like, what? Yeah, I do think it's one of the reasons that I love like LARP and D&D. Is there something so like sweet and grounded about that? And I actually have seen a movement for that being more popular on social media.
That's cool.
Which is so cool, because I'm like, that is something that is so untouchable in that way, where you get together with your friends and there's something so pure about just almost performing for yourself and doing like and just actually having to interact with people. So I do think, you know, like there are pockets of hope everywhere. Because
one of the questions I was going to ask you, but I'm kind of figuring it out now, is like, do you find yourself more being an optimist or a pessimist? But
I think I'm more of an optimist.
Yeah, I can say that. I can see that.
I think as I've gotten older, I actually think...
As you've gotten older, that's good.
As I actually think, weirdly, as things have gotten more chaotic, as a little bit of a survival mechanism for myself, I'm like, you know, I choose to believe that I'm going to do the best that I can. There's only so much that I can control. And like, I am optimistic. I believe that most people are doing their best.
Of course.
I really do. And I believe that matters. And I think we screw that up a lot. But I think, you know, I'm optimistic in that sense. It's like I've met a lot of really, really, really wonderful people. And some people who I really disagree with in terms of their values. But I think there's an internal logic.
Yes.
And I believe in people's humanity. I think very few people are Luca Magnotta's.
Yeah.
It's a very small percentage.
It's a small percentage, but it's a percentage that gets glamorized to some extent, but also just accentuated, especially through social media. So you think it's bigger than it actually is, but again, it's a small percentage of actually deranged individuals like that.
Yeah, it's not as big as we think.
Well, one of the things you describe yourself as a writer is like you like talking about or writing about near dystopian futures.
Yes, yeah.
Do you think we're going to one or are in one?
I hope not, but I do think so.
Yeah.
I think that also, it is a really biased perspective in terms of like we are living in this moment of history.
Yes.
So if you asked a medieval peasant if we were in a dystopia, they'd be like, "Fuck you." So
you're not dying with rats and just the moment somebody touches you.
But do I think that we could care more about people? Yeah. Yeah, I think we could take better care of people. And so, yeah, I think in that way, I think in a world where we have the technology that we have and we have the medicine that we have, not to get too political, I think that should be accessible. And I don't think that should be a super political thing. But
you're right.
Like,
it should. It's just basic
should.
Human needs.
Yeah, but I wish we cared more about taking care of people. And in that way, I think like with AI too. Like I know a lot of people are really worried about AI. I am too. And people are like, AI is going to take over the world. And I'm like, well, people are going to take it. The people that made AI and the people that control it and the people that decide what it can do. Like even if it does evolve and outwit us and like whatever.
When people have been saying that a lot, especially recently.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? AI is going to outwit us, but it's on our computers, on our phones. Mm-hmm. A robot, like Terminator-style robot's going to come interact us and hold us as slaves and like create a whole new... Like, what does that mean when people say, like, oh, it's over when AI knows how to be human, basically?
I don't know. I don't think we know. I don't think we know what it's going to look like. I think it's fear of the unknown, a lot of it.
Yeah, of course.
But it is crazy if you've ever talked to like ChatGPT and you've ever used the voice chat function of it.
Dude, the voice chat kills me. I love the like, hey, the breathing. You're just like, oh, I don't like this ASMR. Get out of my ear.
It scared the crap out of me the first time I did it. I was like, this is some uncanny, like the movie Her.
Yes.
That's what I thought of. Is I was like,
well, it's nuts because I first saw it in one of the South Park episodes, and I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this very moment that exists, that exact voice and the breathing. My friend popped and showed it to me, and I was like, that's real? Oh, man.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. But but there are, it's like anything. There are going to be pros and cons.
Of course,
in terms of like accessibility. If you are a person who's like, there's dangers to this, but if you're really lonely, if you don't have people to talk to, like, there are like, or if you have really like, if you're like me and you're a little ADHD, like it helps me with scheduling so much. Like that is what I think I use AI for the most. Is I end up being like, I need to accomplish this by this date. Tell me what to do each day to make sure that I get there. And that being able to do that really.
And do you do it through the voice or through the written?
The voice kind of creeps me.
Yeah, it is creepy.
So I'm a little bit like removed from that, but it's really nice to be able to say, can you schedule this for me and have an instant.
Yeah.
Here's your Monday through Friday, what you're doing and how many pages you need to write and what you need to.
I mean, it's like having a personal assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
I'm not gonna pretend I don't use that.
Yeah. And
like they're like, I don't know. It is a weird time.
It is. It's a time of this paradigm shift of us trying to figure out how to adapt to it. We're adapting.
Yeah.
And growing pains are going to be growing pains.
Yeah.
People are going to hate it. People are going to love it. People are just going to evolve with it. That's the ultimate way of just surviving.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So Zoe, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Yes, you too.
I want to know, or I guess the audience, if you can talk into this camera, any advice you give to writers and just being a good human and what we can do in life.
I think I have the most annoying advice, but I think the best thing you can do as a writer is, if you're a screenwriter, read scripts. Figure out what your like you can. ScriptSlug is a great resource. You can download your favorite scripts for your favorite movies, your favorite TV shows, and read them. And I think that's really helpful. And also, you know, talk to people as much as you can. Figure out how people talk to each other. Like, I had a writing teacher once who said, you know, this is like, obviously don't publish any recordings of people, but she used to have us go to like cafes and like record people's conversations and type and transcribe them. And that was a really interesting exercise for dialogue. And then I think for storytelling and structure, like for me, the thing that has helped me the most is deadlines. And I think that works for some people and it doesn't work for some people. And there's not a linear, like, you're supposed to do it this way. I know Stephen King in his book on writing is like, you have to write every morning from this. I'm like, that's not realistic. Not everyone can do that. That's not how everyone works. But for me, I once I have an idea, set a deadline for 4 to 6 weeks in the future to shit out a first draft. And it doesn't have to be good. It just has to be there. And the bones of it just have to be there. And it helps me to say, okay, by this date, I'm just gonna have done this. And you know, you can use yourself or ChatGPT or something to say, what do I need to do to get there? I do draw the line at, sometimes it'll be like, do you want me to plot the story for you? I'm like, no! So like, I would say that feels unethical to me. But yeah, listen to people, talk to people, if you wanna write a script about a comedy club, go hang out in a comedy club, understand what that world is if you have the opportunity to. And if it's a fantasy world, then spend time in it, in your own mind. And like, that kind of stuff doesn't have to be a perfect version of it, but like, you will get better at it too. Like, fail spectacularly, and like, then that will be the best success, is like the fact that you let yourself fail, I think.
Yeah. Totally agree. So you heard it from her. Let yourself fail and you will improve. Yeah. Zoe, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.